Brother, you're the topic of conversation.
Yeah, you think?
Vlad, what's going on?
Man, look, if you look at like my previous tweets, I was talking about how ridiculous the whole news cycle was because they're bringing back this old video from May of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she really was the shooter, and people like, oh, look, the evidence is in. And I'm like, this is a tweet from May. And he wasn't even the bodyguard that night. He was the bodyguard who claims you rehearsed something during the court proceedings, whatever. And people like, oh, that's because Jay-Z, he bought off all the jurors. I said, okay, that's an interesting idea for a tweet. So I created this whole ridiculous tweet with every conspiracy theory laid out one after the other, to the point of even saying that Jay-Z did a verse for the judge's grandson.
Yeah, that was reaching, of course.
You think that was reaching?
Well, hey, listen, I knew this was a satirical tweet from the get-go. I was just speaking about the tweet on stream here. And by the way, Vlad, I'm telling you, you fucked the hip-hop game up with this. Usually I get about 15,000 people watching me. I have 31,000 right now listening to me. Just let you know, okay? And it's all because of you. So we got to get down to some hard facts. Now,
okay,
I'll tell you two issues. And by the way, I've also said, me and you, we trade podcast appearances. I get on Vlad TV. You come on my show. Our next podcast has to be solely about this because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Now, I had two issues, and you could, we'll get into real depth, like I guess when we sit with each other. But my two issues was this: I think you sent and fired off this tweet because you slightly have an axe to grind still about Tory. Not that you have a problem with him, but people were skeptical of you of when you predicted an outcome, this and third. And I thought you putting up this tweet made an incident so big. Now it's like really kicking his back in for someone who is going through, like, he's incarcerated. It's not like you actually think he did it and he's free. He's incarcerated. He's trying to fight for his freedom or at least some type of relief. And I feel like this is kicking a man when he's down. Okay. Second,
well, okay. Oh, yeah, hold on. Can I address the first one, or do you want to? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Tory has been convicted by a jury of 12 people and has been sentenced. He filed an appeal and it was rejected. And you could say I'm kicking while he's down or whatever. He has gone through the legal process and it didn't work out, which is what I've been saying the whole time. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I don't know him. We've never spoken. I ran into his dad and we had a respectful conversation. Me and his dad have each other's phone numbers. I said, he can come to my show at any point. Tory can come do live TV if he wants to call in or whatever else. I publicly said I feel really bad over what happened with him over the stabbing incident. But it's just like this constant cycle of like, oh, it was really someone else. He never did it. He's the, Rock Nation. It manipulated everyone is just like a ridiculous theory. In the same way that I've been talking about the Nicki Minaj's of the world and so forth, this is just the same thing. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I hope Tory does come home sooner than expected. I've always said this.
Well, the reason why I say you possibly have an axe to grind, and it appears so, and it feels like kicking him while he's down, because like there has always been a controversial case where not all of the constituents or the citizens in the United States or viewing public agree. Like, for example, with O.J. Simpson. Would you go as far to say anybody who believes that O.J. did it, they're an idiot, or they're just like lunatics? Because that's what this kind of comes across. I feel like there's a particular thing about the Tory thing. Not that I really don't think you have anything against him, but I know you, Vlad. When Vlad gives his opinion and he's right, Vlad loves to be like, I told you so. I think this is a told you so moment. Yet again, just is blown up beyond that because now people are making a lot of other assumptions.
I mean, I guess you could frame it how you want to frame it. At the end of the day, this got triggered off of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she was the shooter because you overheard her say it during a conversation. You could check. This whole thing entered the cycle once again. And it was all over like the blogs and everything else like that. And it's like, yo, I don't want Tory to stay in prison. I think he's done his time. He went through a horrific stabbing incident. I hope he comes home early. I have nothing against Tory. He can come do the show. Me and him have had one DM exchange, and that was it. That was it. That's our only interactions. But at the end of the day, this was triggered off of the lunacy coming back into the cycle again. At the end of the day, you know that he filed an appeal and it was struck down, right? But then again, only 2% of appeals ever go through.
Yeah, and again, these are things that the reasonable people who still have doubts, they're not denying. But and so, okay, we get it on that Tory part, but I think the bigger part of even why I think this kind of like it broke through the cycle, it's not that you just had an opinion on Tory, is that by lumping this idea, I want to make a blanket announcement that if Jay-Z sent the checks, I never got them. Okay? I want to be very clear. I'm a very open person, and y'all know how I get down when it comes to beef. I love telling y'all who I done finesse, because I feel like I done robbed these niggas in reality. So I'll tell you what it was, if there was some shit to tell. I got the biggest mouth in hip-hop. You know me, I can't hold water. Pause. So this idea that Jay-Z has all the bloggers in his pocket and he's paying off, well, just I'll raise my hand to say I'm the only one that's not. I can't vouch for these other guys. I cannot vouch for these other guys. Now, this before we get to the whole veracity of the tweet and this and third, but I want to make that abundantly clear. And I'm always open and honest. I used to do business with Jay-Z, Rock Nation, Jay-Z, to promote their artists until me and Meek Mill got into it, and I threw it in his face.
Always pushing for the doubt, hit a left and a right fist right to their mouth. I was never cocky figure till I started stacking figures. How you make a cocky nigga give him all the traffic? Always humble, but I got a couple bad habits. Set the numbers at a zero to these mathematics. Get you talking different, walking like you gang banging.
Salute to the K, salute to the Ville. Drop a like, drop a comment. This for the homie in the chat that said, you know what I'm saying, waiting 6 minutes for a reaction is diabolical. But you know what I'm saying, listen, gang, like, I want y'all to see the whole thing. I want y'all to see the whole thing so y'all can have an opinion for yourselves, and y'all, you know what I'm saying, drop a comment as to how y'all feel. You know what I'm saying? And as we continue to see, the thing that y'all don't understand when we do these is everything is connected. If you look at all the Litty Reacts, all of them is connected. All the characters, all the people, all the celebrities, quote unquote celebrities, they just normal people to me, right? But all these people in different tax brackets, all of them connect in some way, form, or fashion. So if you hear me say a name, it is somewhere down the line either covered them or they just come in tied together. Kind of like you seeing all these, you know, strings start to make sense, and they're tying to photos that, you know what I'm saying, that we kind of insinuated or maybe thought they were connected, but now they're connected. We talking about Epstein, gang. Now, y'all heard that. They ain't never gonna invite no academics or no DJ. Now, let me not say DJ Vlad, but they're not gonna invite no academics over there because he got a big mouth. Like, do you understand that? Pause. Like, he got a big mouth. There's no way. Like, that's like inviting Alex Jones, to the Christmas party with all the Illuminati. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. As badly, because academics wants it too bad. He wants it too bad. DJ Vlad, though, he's like the best of both. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, hey, what do we always hear? Who were we hiding under the desk for? The Russians. He half of that. And now, what's they saying they control everything on that? What he got mad at Kanye for? Because he's also he's the other half of that. So, yo, do you think that I honestly don't think that he's a culture vulture and he hasn't been here since day one and I haven't said that since day one? Why do you think we got to alter his voice? Because the guy don't like anybody talking shit about him. He likes to scrub the internet of anything negative. What value outside of him taking and manipulating, since we want to use the word manipulating, what side of him manipulating these old gangsters that get out of jail to come onto his thing, and now he has to start paying people because Marlon Wayans was like, yo, wait a minute. You mean to tell me you gonna speak off the culture, off of all of us that are colored, all of us that bled in the street, that went through actual street shit, that actually went through it, and we're gonna get told how all this stuff by a guy, we're gonna get exposed by a guy that just wears Jordans on his feet? Come on now. And dates black girls every now and again because he wants to get his fetish fixed? Like, I mean, he is Jewish, right? He did sit there and do a whole thing against Kanye, right? But yet, yo, isn't it in the Jewish faith, like, you're not supposed to date anybody outside your race, right? It's not a Jew if it's not a Jewish thing, if it's not a Jew, right? Y'all be having those conversations, all right? Don't y'all raise y'all kids like that? Don't y'all raise y'all kids that you gotta date a Jewish girl? You know what I'm saying? You gotta date a nice Jewish girl. DJ Vlad wants to be black so bad, he done grew out his fucking ponytail. He got a man bun in 2026, bro. He grew out his beard, alright? Because he wants to be black so bad. He wants to be black so bad. And the reality is, the reason why he does all these things. Now listen, I hope and pray that lawsuits come out of this, on some Drake shit. Since Drake opened up the box, before there was lawsuits, people took people to civil court and all of that. But what Drake did, man, that let off for things like this. I hope that a tweet like that, where he sat there and had Harlem Legend, and a whole bunch of other hip-hop guys, and sorry Harlem, but like, listen, bro, like, I don't like to bomb on you because I kind of know you a little bit from sections and all that shit like that. Me and you kind of had one conversation on the phone. But Brody, like, even you got had. Like, hey y'all, sorry Harlem, this is my Harlem. Hey y'all, we gotta be serious, y'all. Like, y'all, Jay-Z did a track, y'all. I chilled with DJ Vlad, y'all. Like, I don't know, y'all. I may not have to. Then you do a backhanded. I may not do an interview ever again if this is true. You know it's not true, bro. You know it's all satirical. Anybody that read that shit and believed any of that, y'all doing it for the views. That exposed more. That exposed, just like the list, that exposed way more than it let off. This is why DJ Vlad, plays all of you. The clout chasers, the ones that want to do this shit for views and do that shit, like, I gotta live off this. Hey, he got y'all all in puppets, and you know why he can use y'all as puppets? Because of that. Because of that, y'all sit there and fall for anything that guy say. He's like the Dave Meltzer of hip hop. He ain't been relevant in years. It's wrestling. It's wrestling. It's wrestling. And since y'all can't sit there, like, y'all mean to tell me that y'all really believe all this shit. And this is what happens. See, I do think, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I do think that there is a section where Jay-Z has done fucked up shit. Because guess what? That goes in any part of the game, because that's what's been done in the game since the 90s, since the 80s, since the 70s, when they could do it and they could get off with it. The reason why it's all coming to light now is because it's 2026 and we all got these, and everybody got these, and when you see academics and everybody talking the way that they do, why do you think people, they're not afraid no more? Tekashi 6ix9ine, that ass did a whole, you know what I'm saying, a whole rundown on the whole industry after ratting on his boys, and nobody pressed him for that. It took like 3-4 years for some Dominican, half Puerto Rican motherfuckers to get him in a gym somewhere in Florida. He's gotten hemmed up more by Spanish folk, by Dominicans and Puerto Ricans in Florida gyms and DR Islands than anybody did to him in New York. And DJ Vlad just sits here and he just cakes up. Now he pays these rappers and now he pays these legends, to come up there, you know what I'm saying? And salute to Tony Yayo, I mean, you get your bag. Salute to Lil Boozy, you get in your bag. But guess what? He utilizes these moments, So when he sits there and he drops a tweet and you got Harlem Legend and all these other hip-hop guys reporting like it's the news, like, oh my God, Jay-Z. Now when actual shit pops off, ain't nobody gonna believe nothing. It's all AI now because of this white guy. And then you wonder why we sit here, we call him a culture vulture. And what is the definition of a culture vulture? Someone that infiltrates. and causes confusion, amongst what's going on. And we're right now, listen, I bomb on academics all the time, but the one thing that academics has kind of had right is sitting here kind of putting out the Rock Nation and all these tie-ins and all these weird little happenings. And maybe he has it in for Meg Thee Stallion, but the same way that he has it in for Meg Thee Stallion, this guy has it out for Tory Lanez. So all this stuff about I wish him free and all this stuff, you wouldn't have put out a tweet like that, messing up the whole shit if you were free Tory. Let the courts do what they got to do. If somebody sat there at a press conference, all right, and made it to a press conference, for them to sit there and say, yo, we got new evidence, we got this and that, whatever, let the courts do whatever. You want to bring the technicalities that the court system failed Tory Lanez, a black man going against a black woman, all right, in a woke time, in a Me Too, right outside the Me Too era time, all right, you mean to tell me that Tory had a chance? He didn't have no chance. You leaving context out. You leaving the fact that Meg Thee Stallion was out here twerking, alright? Twerking. Why you think they trying to put so much validation behind that tweet, Vlad? Even you sitting there trying to pass it off as a satirical one. Why? Because you sitting there, you pressing for Meg Thee Stallion. You wanna F one of these girls so bad. You wanna be that guy, but you will never be that guy. You're getting older, Vlad. You're getting older. Your views will sooner or later will go down. And see, you used to pop this off like, oh, yo, you know, my legacy. Your legacy is a buster. That's what your legacy is gonna be. You're gonna forever be known as a buster. You're still a hat and a Russian guy that just trying to make it and be accepted in hip hop. In 2026, you still trying to be accepted. And guess what? You being accepted by the academics of the world does not put you in the culture, gang. That adds more to our case than it does yours. That adds more to our case than it does yours. You're a clown. You're a joke. You know what I'm saying? You are not hip-hop at all. You do not speak for the culture. You are not of the culture. You are a visitor, all right, that sits here and likes to manipulate, and you like to pay your way into the culture. And we got to tolerate you. That's all it is. It's toleration.
Never always pushing for the doubt. Hit a left and a right fist right to their mouth. I was never cocky figure till I started stacking figures. How you make a cocky nigga give him all the traffic? Always humble, but I got a couple bad habits. Add the numbers, adding zeros to these mathematics. Get you talking different, walking like you gang banging.